Combining is just estimation with rounding, but we're using subtraction in this case, right? So when it says use rounding, then you're going to round the number first and then do the subtraction with the rounded numbers. So like this example, right? It says estimate 8,370 minus 5,886, but we're going to use front-end rounding. Remember, front-end rounding is just the front number, right? So on this one, I'd say 8,370. I would look to the front number or the number farthest to the left, which in this case is 8. I look to its right, and if that number is 5 or more, I add 1 to the place value that I'm targeting. If it's less than 5, then I keep that place value the same. The 3 in the hundreds place value is going to keep the 8 the same, which is just going to make this 8,000. Yeah, all the other numbers to the right of that place value become zeros. We're going to subtract. Now we're looking at 5,886. The 5 in the thousands place value, I look immediately to its right. That's an 8. That's more than 5. It's 5 or more, I should say. So I'm going to add 1 to that 5 to make it 6. And then all the other place values become zeros, right? So this then becomes 8,000 minus 6,000. All right? Gotta finish off that 0. So I would look in the ones place value, 0 minus 0 is 0. Tens place value, 0 minus 0 is 0. Hundreds place value, 0 minus 0 is 0. And then we got 8 minus 6. 8 fingers up, 6 fingers down, 2 fingers up. So this with the front end rounding is 2,000. But I'm going to reiterate this again. Is front end rounding, again, sometimes you're not always rounding to the same place value. Like this one it was, because the front number was both in the thousands place value, but it is possible with front end rounding to round to different place values for the two numbers. This next example wants us to round to the nearest 10 and then do the subtraction, right? And which is our estimation here. So it's, let's look at this. If it were stacked regularly, it'd be 2,457 minus 521 like this, okay? But let's do our front end round. Sorry, not front end this time. It's just rounding to the nearest 10, right? So I focus on my tens place value. So I'd start with the 2,457. If you're just rounding, it doesn't matter which number you start with. I'm going to start with the 5 in the tens place value. I look to the right, it's a 7. That's 5 or more, which means I'm going to have to add 1 to the 5 in the tens place value, making it 6. Okay, so now that 7 becomes a 0 in the ones place value. It is not affecting anything to its left, those other place values. Okay, so it's 2,460 now after we've rounded it. Sorry, maybe I should have spread those out a little bit too. Maybe that's better. Yeah, the arrow should help. So then we look at the 521, the 2 in the tens place value. Just to its right, the ones place value is a 1. Well, 1 is less than 5, which means the 2 is going to stay at 2 in the tens place value. Everything to the right becomes zeros. The 5 was unaffected. So now 521 becomes 520. And when I subtract, just by the rounding, I don't know that it makes it easier necessarily, but the calculation will be faster. So I'd say 0 minus 0, that's in the ones place value, that's 0. 6 minus 2 in the tens place value, 6 take away 2 is 4. But now I'm in the hundreds place value, but I got 4 minus 5, right? Well, I don't have enough hundreds to take away 500 away there. So I'm going to have to change this and make it, now I'm going to have to borrow from the thousands. So one of those thousands is now in the tens place value, and the other one is staying in the thousands place value. So 14 minus 5, take away 5. I got 9 fingers up right there. And then finally, this 1 in the thousands place value, it's just going to drop as a 1. So with rounding to the nearest 10, we get 1,940.